All right, we're here with another edition of Shoot Interviews with Saturn and OKFavorite.com. I want to thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right, first of all, I want to know what are your thoughts as a kid of wrestling, and how did you decide you wanted to become a wrestler?
When I grew up in a really abusive household, you know, I was an abused kid, and I had such a low opinion of myself, and just, you know, my stepfather used to just beat the hell out of me all the time. And one day I was watching TV, flipping through the channels, and I seen this stuff, and I didn't even know what it was. You know, I was like second grade, you know, and it was pro wrestling, and it just blew my mind. And all I could think of was, wow, I bet nobody ever touches these guys, you know. And ever since then, that's all I wanted to do, you know. I was just so fascinated by it, and, you know, just as a kid, that's all I would think about, you know, growing up to do that, you know. And I used to watch of course, when you're a kid, you know, you watch all the wrestling you can too, you know. I watched the AWA and WCW and WWE, but it was WWF, you know. Anything I could watch, they had on ESPN, the old stuff with the Von Erichs. I don't even know what wrestling that was, and the Texas stuff, you know. And I would watch, you know, like it would be on ESPN every day at like 4 in the afternoon. You know, I would watch it. But I was probably an adult by then, acting like I was a kid, you know, watching it. Yeah.
All right, do you have any relatives you stay in touch with besides your wife right now?
No, I'm not in touch with anybody. I just kind of stay to myself. You know, I have some friends, you know, that are like pretty like family to me, you know, and Dean Malenko, Raven, you know, these guys I'm very tight with, you know, and they're more my family than any actual blood family.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because I had a pretty shitty childhood, and
You distance yourself from them? Yeah. I hear you. All right. Does kayfabe still exist in the Indies? Does it exist?
I don't think it exists anywhere. Internet has kind of changed that, you know. One of my first matches, I was trained by Killer Kowalski, and he taught you a lot of things. He taught you the hard way, you know. And I think I was working with Bill Wilcox, was the kid's name I was working with, and we were kind of talking about the match a little bit, and Walter was walking through with the promoter, and Walter was going, kayfabe, 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 and I had no idea what it meant. Finally, he got fucking mad. He came over and shoved my head in a locker and slammed the locker on my head. God damn it, you fucking schmuck, I said kayfabe. And he stormed away. And then Chris Duffy and a couple of the older guys told me what kayfabe was, you know. And Walter used to always say that wrestling got exposed by the guys who would do the job, and they would go tell their girlfriends and stuff, oh, it's not real, you know. Walter was the old school, like, hated that it was entertainment, you know, wanted it to still be kayfabe. Now that it's so publicly entertainment, I don't think, you know, most of the stuff you can find on the internet before it even happens, right?
Yeah.
Or at least people are speculating, you know, like Brock just debuted on Raw again, you know, but he was backstage at WrestleMania, and that was all over the internet, so everybody knew already, yeah. You know. So how much kayfabe is there, you know?
Yeah, you seen the show that day when he came out?
No, I watched WrestleMania. I didn't see the Raw,
the
though.
fans were screaming his name. We want Brock. They knew he was there. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's in an effort to be smart, they take away some of their enjoyment. Remember when you were a kid and you didn't know it was a work, and how excited you'd get when the baby face finally made his comeback and stuff. But now you spend too much time people trying to figure out what they're going to do instead of just enjoying the show.
Right. You mean the fans themselves?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Yeah. Right. None of the boys are smart. We're all dumb as shit.
They're always trying to figure out what's going on. You mean?
Yeah, you know, and they know, you know, like when I live in Minneapolis, and whenever Raw's in Minneapolis, I go, you know, and I see all the guys I know and stuff. it'd be all over the internet that I was backstage, you know, like it's some big, you know,
Yeah.
secret that got out, you know. And it's nothing other than me just visiting friends, you know.
So why you think it don't exist?
Because the internet. I think, well, I don't know. And
Yeah,
the
you
thing-
said that. I would figure you would think it was the internet because you mentioned that.
Yeah, you know,
So you
like,
think it's 'cause of the internet.
yeah, the whole world has changed, like social media and all that. Man, you know, I would have been in so much trouble when I was wrestling all the time if they had all these fucking phones with cameras and stuff. I don't know how many times I did stuff I shouldn't have been doing that would have been fans would have been taking pictures of and would have been all over the internet, you know. Yeah, nothing is like it doesn't matter, even not just wrestling, anything, you know, football, anything. If a football player gets pulled over for something, the whole country knows before he's even had a chance to pay his ticket, you know.
So you're saying basically because of that, you think kayfabe cannot exist at all?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Wow.
And I also think that wrestling as a business is accepting the fact that it doesn't exist, and they don't put as much effort into making it exist.
Do you think a wrestler himself will get a much bigger, further push if kayfabe exists?
I don't think that has anything to do with the push at all.
You don't think that it will make them get further at all if it exists more?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Really?
All the kayfabe does is lets the fans so they don't know what's going to happen. That doesn't affect the push any. The push you're going to get by your ability to get over with the fans, you know. And whether the fans know what you're going to do or not doesn't affect whether you can get over with them.
In a sense, I think you can, in a sense. You know, I understand what you're saying. You have to be a good worker to be able to work in this business. You're right, but I don't know. I kind of feel it does play a little part.
See, the storyline has to be good, but the storyline
That's
is not.
kayfabe.
Not really. The storyline. Kayfabe is keeping the story a secret. That's the storyline. Is just has to be entertaining. That you're entertained watching it. You know.
Yeah. All right. Good you mentioned that because I didn't think my next question after that was leading from that question, which was why you think it don't exist. Of common sense, I would think it would get a wrestler further. That was my next question. I thought you would say that it would. All right. You was in WCW when it died. Oh no, but you was there right before it died.
Yep.
All right. Your thoughts on Bobby Heenan?
Love Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan's awesome. Bobby Heenan always found ways to get me over during his commentating. He was good to talk to. I have nothing but positive. Bobby Heenan was good to be around. We were in, I think, Detroit, and I walked into the dressing room, and Bobby had one of my boots in his hand, and he was sticking paper towels in the toe of the boot. And I go, Bobby, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I was going to rip you. You know, he's funny. And just, you know, he figured I'd try to get my boot on and not be able to get my foot in, and I just happened to catch him. Oh, that's not my phone. Yeah, but I thought Bobby Heenan was very entertaining. I liked him too as a manager. You know, that doesn't exist anymore. Hogan had a feud with Bobby Heenan, not really with his guy. You know, this way Heenan, whoever it was, would be over because of Heenan.
Yeah.
You know, I like that, and that just I guess it's just not what's popular anymore. You know, because it wouldn't matter if for me to be over, all I had to do was have Heenan as my manager, and now I'm working with Hogan. You know.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I enjoyed that. And Heenan always took good bumps, and he was funny.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because I seen a shoot interview with him. He said beating Goldberg is what killed WCW. He thinks that's what killed. He thinks Goldberg is basically the next Hulk Hogan,
No,
and by beating him, they killed WCW. I want to know, what do you think about
WCW died because it was it was probably the most poorly run company in the history of the world. It was brutally run. Very common things that happened at WCW would be the boss, whoever it was, Eric or whoever, telling you, okay, you're wrestling him, he's got to go over. And then you say, well, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm saying, okay, well, let's not do that then. Anybody did anything they wanted to do. Jericho was leaving for WWE, and Chris and I are friends for, like, I've known Chris since he was really young. We go together in Japan and stuff. And the deal at the pay-per-view was, if Chris wins, I have to wear a dress. If I win, Chris is not allowed to wrestle on Nitro anymore. Eric wanted to punish Chris for leaving and take him off of Nitro.
I heard you tell that story.
So, and Eric didn't show up to the pay-per-view, and we switched the finish.
Yeah, I know.
That's bad business.
Yeah.
There's no way around that, and people did that all the time. And that's what killed it. You can't have, in WWE, Vince is the boss. You're going to do what he wants to do, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why they survived. Turner came at him, WCW, not Turner, but Eric, came at him with endless financial resources, and Vince withstood the barrage and it beat him with creativity and being the boss. You can't have, WCW had everything except for any organizational skills. It was so poorly run. Me, Jericho, Benoit, Raven, we were EFD guys every fucking day. We worked every show. We were mid-card on the televisions, main event on the house shows, because Luger, Hogan, Sting, Hall and Nash, these guys never went to house shows. So then they would say, oh, the house shows weren't drawing, and then them guys would say, well, these guys can't get over because they can't draw in the house shows. Well, no, we weren't pushed to be the main events. You know, that would, if you're on top at WWE, you're working every show. That's part of being on top, you know.
Yeah.
There's Sting, I don't know if I was in WCW, I think 3 years. I don't know if he worked 2 matches my whole time there. And he was making, and good for him, however much money he made, but he was making a lot of money. Yeah. And he spent over a year in the rafters.
Yeah, I remember that. What would you say to an up-and-coming wrestler that come across drugs in their wrestling career and people in recovery?
Well, I got nothing positive to say about drugs. I don't know, I can tell them my story. I don't know if that helps anybody or not. And you know what, when I was really screwed up, it didn't matter what somebody told me. I wasn't going to listen. So I don't know if anybody else is going to listen to me. I can tell you that it absolutely ruined my life. And I went from having everything to having nothing, and to this day barely getting by. You know, I barely survive now. Still, a lot of times I get my food at the Salvation Army because I just don't have any money. I have nothing. You know, I blew it all on drugs and stupid shit like that, you know. So I had,
You mean now?
No, I don't do
No,
drugs.
I mean, now you've been eating, surviving like this?
Still, yeah, that's how I survive, you know. I just, every month, about the 25th of the month, I go to the Salvation Army because I can go there once a month. Me and my wife, we get food. We barely get by.
Really?
I make just enough money to keep my power on and, you know, pay my water bill. Like, you asked me if I've seen Brock debut on Raw. Yeah. I didn't because I don't have cable. I can't afford it. Oh. I seen WrestleMania because a fan paid me $500 to come to his party while he had, but otherwise I wouldn't have seen WrestleMania. Wow. You know, so that's what, you know, and I made my bed and I'm doing the best I can to get out of it, but I had everything. I spent money like, I made tons of money and I blew it all because of drugs. So, but I don't know if somebody getting into that would even listen to somebody, you know. I don't know, like I wouldn't have. So.
You could try though, it won't hurt to try.
That's why I tell everybody my story, and I'm not shy about it, you know. And I don't make any excuses. The, every addict that I've met, and I've met a bunch, they all have a couple of things in common. They're all liars. They're all thieves. I was a liar and a thief, and that's what they. And anyone who says they're not, they're fucking lying, or they're not an addict. When you're an addict, nothing is more important than that high, and it doesn't matter what you have to do to get it.
Are people in recovery?
It's the juice is worth the squeeze. It gets really hard sometimes, but sobriety is far better than anything else I've experienced in life. Especially part of recovery in the beginning, for sure, is relapse. And you can't beat yourself up over that. I relapsed a couple of times. Each time I did, I was on drugs less, and it was easier to get off. You just keep, the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't know how else to say it. You know, it's hard, but once you get like where I'm at now, I'll never be high again. I don't miss it anymore. I go through, you go through, like me anyways, through stages. You know, like I would Jones drugs really bad, you know, all the time. And then I would kind of Jones them, but I would never go get them. But if they were around, I'd have to do them. And then it got to be where if they were around, I may not do them. And then where I don't Jones them, I don't want them. I don't care if they're around. Like TV shows where they were doing drugs or booting or something, I would get real bad Joneses and want to go get high just from you know, and would romanticize being high, you know, only remember what I think the good stuff was, you know, and but that's all part of it, and it gets hard, but eventually you get to the point where it's all worth it, you know.
No doubt. Killer Kowalski, I'm sorry. Speak on him and training with him.
He was awesome. He was crazy. All old timers are crazy. As I'm getting to become an old timer.
I seen his ears. He had some big cauliflower ears, right?
His hands were like something. Like I met Stu Hard and Verd Gagne, right? But their hands too are like they're just deformed, like big giant claws. And
really?
And Walter was he was an herbalist and you know, a vegetarian, yeah. And like I got Bell's palsy, and part of my treatment, I would at night have to take a Band-Aid, and I'd tape my eye closed when I slept because my eye wouldn't close, and so my eye was drying out. So Walter got me these herbs, and he told me I had to put them in a shot cup of water and put it over my eye. And being an old timer, his method of timing, he told me to take the phone off of the hook. You know how it makes a noise? Yeah. Start there, and when it's finished making that noise, I had it on long enough. I broke the bursa sac in my elbow once, which is a minor, it's a nuisance, but it's nothing terrible. He made me wrap my arm in, like he put some tea leaves on my arm and made me wrap it in saran wrap and keep it on for 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, we took the saran wrap off, and my elbow was better. Probably would have been better in 3 weeks anyways. But he had all kinds of cures like that. Magnets for everything, but he would tell, you know, I spent a lot of time with him, you know, he was always good to be around, just crazy, and sometimes a cranky old man, and, you know, sometimes, he would tell you...
Never used steroids, right?
He said he never did, so I don't know, you know, and he was pretty big, so I have no idea if he did.
He looked natural, that's why it's...
You know, he was a health nut, you know, like I said, a vegetarian.
Yeah,
you know,
that's why too, you know.
So everything if something hurt, he had magnets he'd put on that supposed to help. He had all these natural.
The reason why I asked that because would seem like he worked out naturally. He used natural herbs and natural things to keep himself healthy. When
he was wrestling, how popular were steroids then too? I think they were still kind of just coming out. Yeah. So a lot of the guys probably didn't take him. He was just a naturally big man, you know.
Yeah.
And he was such a good guy in a lot of ways, you know, but crazy. Like, he would tell his stories, these long stories, and it would seem like it'd be right in the middle of the story, and he'd go, and that's why you can't trust nobody. And he'd walk away, and we'd all look like, what the fuck was that about? But he would do stuff like that all the time, you know. Yeah, anytime he had a show, we'd go out to eat afterwards, and he'd always lecture us all about eating, you know, the meat, you know. That, God damn it, that's decaying flesh sitting in your stomach, rotting away all the time.
Can you make a living in the Indies?
I think guys do.
Really?
I think they do. Like, I think Raven still works the Indies, and I don't think he has another job. You know, so I'm sure some guys do.
Usually, what, 3 days or only 2 on the weekends?
Probably 2, I'm guessing. I mean,
Really?
I can't imagine people would run any days other than Friday and Saturday, you know, because then how would you draw? So, but like, yeah, I would think some guy, like Honky Tonk Man, I was good friends with him for a long time. Walter used him, and he worked and I think he still works Indies, you know.
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, I guess you
Will
can
you
make
sell
it.
Walter?
Killer Kowalski.
Oh, okay.
You would use him all the time,
Oh,
you know.
okay. I heard you say you regret not enjoying your ECW time much. Why exactly you said that?
Because I was too serious, always trying to better myself. You know, instead of appreciating what I had, I was seeing that I wasn't where I wanted to be. You know, and I did that through my whole career. You know, never
Just working hard and trying to work
working
harder.
hard and always wanting more. You know. I never took pictures or anything like that. I can't imagine all the guys that I've sat with and drank a beer with and talked to that are dead now.
Yeah.
You know, so just a lot of stuff like that. You know, you miss that's the best part of for being a wrestler. The best part of it is the camaraderie. You know, hanging out with the guys, you know, and going through the hard times and all that together.
Do you think there's a solution to make the Indies big time?
I don't know. I think that's the indie promoters all screw each other over, don't they? I don't know. Like how. I think the indies are going to go the way. That's a hard. I don't have an answer for that. I have no idea.
No, that's a good question.
Yeah, because like I don't know. Like it does the WWE's always going to draw, but does anybody else? So, you know, like TNA, what are they doing? Are they making any money? I heard they were like a ridiculously amount in the red, you know?
So, you don't think none of these indie promoters get it and will ever be able to make it nowhere near the level of Vince McMahon? Or...
Well, that's not, then they wouldn't be an indie promoter. You know?
Yeah,
well,
but to get to that level, I mean, getting from indie to the next level, you think?
I don't know how you could do it. How financially and television resources and stuff, I don't think it would be possible.
Really?
You know, maybe you could make, I think you can get to like an ECW, which is pretty good, you know. We worked every weekend in ECW, every Friday and Saturday, you know, they had TV once every 3 weeks. I don't see why you couldn't do that, you know. I think that's about as steady as you could get for indies, you know what I mean? Work a region like ECW did, you know, and just, and it was every weekend. We never had a weekend off.
Just what, that one city?
No, well, no, all through New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you know.
The east side.
Yeah, just, you know, like we'd be in Queens this week and Scranton and somewhere else the next week, you know, Middleton, New York, you know. You'd work in Queens once every 5 or 6 weeks. You'd work in Scranton, you know. So
I would think little by little that's how you make a business progress. That's how you start going from, you start here, you go from here, you do show there and there, and little by little you progress. That's how I would think it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you're basically saying it's impossible, that it cannot happen.
Well, yeah, I don't think you wouldn't have the resources, because part of it growing is the advertisement of television, and you'd have to be on television, and that's expensive, and so you'd be in the red for a long time, and who can afford that? Who can survive with that? That's why the indie promoters don't do more, because they just can't afford to do more.
You ever worked TNA?
Yeah, I worked TNA before.
You don't think they could?
I don't know. They're in the red bad. I don't know. Again, I think they're probably making poor business decisions. It's not my place to say, but I seen on Twitter, Vince Russo, he must no longer work there, and he made a sarcastic comment, but it's kind of shooting on the rib. He said it's that the lucrative contract Hogan signed to work for TNA really pays off, since he's on TNA only in Rent-A-Center ads.
Yeah.
If you're paying a guy money, which I don't know if they are,
yeah.
and he's never there.
Never there, yeah, don't make no sense.
So that's poor business.
Yeah, it's true. Can you speak on Chris Candido?
I loved Chris Candido. Chris he did a lot of work at the power plant. Was always there helping guys out and stuff. He wasn't on the road as much as I was, and he would always call me and ask me, hey, I'm going to go to the movies. I'm going to call your wife, all right, see if she wants to go. Chris was a great guy, all around great guy. Spent a lot of time with him. I had no idea he was gay. It wouldn't have bothered me one bit. In fact,
not Chris Canyon, Chris Candido.
Oh, Chris Candido. Oh, I got Thank you. Chris Candido's cool too. I don't know. He was I wasn't that close to Chris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we knew each other and stuff, but we didn't hang out a lot and stuff.
I'm just curious, because I hear a lot of good things. A lot of people speak really good about him. He was a good worker, and
he was always
he was a good dude. And
always. I have nothing negative to say about him, but I didn't spend a lot of time with him.
Yeah. How about Louis Piccoli?
Louis was okay too. We spent a little time together. He would spend a lot of time with Candido. Yeah, they were together a lot. Boy, I fucked that up, didn't I? You said Candido, and I went right to Canyon.
It's all right. It's all right. I didn't have a Canyon question in there, so you added one for me.
Good.
Your thoughts on Canyon. We got it already. Your most memorable moment as of right now, so far?
Boy, my favorite match would be me against Raven in Winston-Salem, some pay-per-view, Fall Brawl. And
WCW.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of good memories, like different bullshit memories with different guys and stuff. Maybe my most memorable moment was sitting down with Vince and Shane and working out a deal,
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, which was since I was a little kid, wanting to be in WWE and being from Boston, I met Shane, he would come to the bar I worked at with a bunch of the boys and shit when they were in town,
Shane McMahon?
Yeah, so it was kind of a pretty cool deal, We sat me, Dean, Chris, and Eddie, and Vince, Shane, and JR at a table and just kind of hashed out shit, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's funny, because I would have thought you would have said it was a moment in the ring or something, and it's the day you signed your deal. How about WrestleMania? You worked WrestleMania?
Yeah.
How was that?
I was pretty fucked up at the time. That part of my career, I was pretty bad on drugs.
You don't remember?
It was very, very hazy.
Really?
Very hazy.
How many WrestleManias you did?
Couple.
Really?
Yeah, very hazy.
Wow.
So,
Everybody's dream, and you forget.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
very,
crazy.
it was. I did a 6-man, me, Eddie, and Dean against China and Too Cool, I think. And me and Eddie did something on one. I don't remember what it was, but I know me because I had Terry with me, and I know me and Eddie did something.
Were you there when Daniel Puder went into the Royal Rumble, and Eddie Guerrero and Benoit and Bob Holly just beat him down?
No,
No, you
No.
wasn't in the WWE at the
I
time?
don't know. Who was
you,
it?
You remember Daniel Puder? He won the Tough Enough contest.
No, I don't.
He's a
Maven
he's
won
an
it?
MMA fighter. He fights MMA, not
Yeah.
Maven. His
No.
name is Daniel Puder.
No, I don't remember that at all.
How did it feel to be back in the ring in the AEW event?
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I was so like unsure what was going to happen, and I wasn't in the ring in so long, and it, it was the first time in decades that I was in the ring sober. So it was pretty good, man. It felt really good. For me, that's what I'm meant to do. So for a long time, my life lost purpose, and for that moment, I had it again. You know, it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That actually, and you know what? That may be my best memory in the business, to tell you the truth, because I fell so far, and by no means was in the shape I wanted to be in the place I wanted to be. But just the fact that I got to go, I don't know, maybe that was my last time. I have no idea, but I hope not. But even if it was, you know what? At least I got to do it sober.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was probably my best moment.
It's nice, man. Why did you say it was good working with CW?
Because I didn't wrestle in 9.5 years, and he took care of me.
Yeah.
You know, he was easy to work with. I didn't get hurt. He didn't get hurt. So, and he's a pretty good worker. You know, that some guys are just not very good workers. So that always makes it a struggle, and makes the match seem like it's forever. And you know, I would have hated to have been off all that time and worked with somebody that was the shits. You know.
Yeah. Can you talk about Wrestle Association R in Japan?
Different Japanese wrestling, is that?
Wrestle Association R in Japan.
What is
You
that?
know about that?
No, I
No?
don't even know what that is.
No?
Yeah, they said it was like a wrestling federation, you like used to go to in Japan in '93. Like, you.
War? Are you talking about war? Wrestling and romance? Tenru?
What federations were you wrestling?
War in New Japan?
It was war.
Yeah, War
That's
in
it?
New Japan. Yeah.
War. Oh, that's the abbreviation for Wrestle Association or War, if you know.
It's
Oh, yeah,
wrestling
yeah.
and wrestling and romance.
Speak
Wrestling
on that.
and romance.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know it makes
they
no
got
sense.
It noted down as.
I know that makes no
wrestling-
sense.
Yeah.
But that's what it
There
is,
it is,
wrestling
you
and
see it?
romance.
Speak about that.
That's all.
When was that?
Me and John wrestled there as a team. Me and
Oh.
John and Warlord as 6-mans. I met Jericho there. We had awesome times there. That was our first. Me and John just got done wrestling for Lawler in the Mid-South. We were down there for a year, and we started working in Japan. You know, and we were there every 6 weeks or so for at least a week. You know, before we went to ECW. So we started. First time we started to, you know. No, and working for Lawler, we made a living because that's all we did, you know. But this was the next step up, so it was a big. And Tenru was the boss, and Tenru was awesome to work for. He always took care of you know. And like I said, I met Jericho there, and just it was good. You know, Japan has such prestige to a wrestler just breaking in and stuff. And now me and John had a steady gig there, so that was kind of a big deal, you know. And it was just a good, you know, they always took care of us. We went there right after the earthquake they had in Osaka. It destroyed like Osaka and that whole area. And we were there for 3 weeks. and the highways and stuff were so tore up from this earthquake that we were sometimes the bus ride was 18, 19, 20 hours just because of, I mean, highways and streets were literally just ripped up and you couldn't, it took forever to get around. It's pretty amazing to see a country just totally just devastated from this, you know. Osaka and Kobe, I think, were
It's
hit.
different over there too, like they talk about Japan.
Is it what?
Stiffer, it was a lot.
I don't know, that's how I work anyway, so I
You didn't
like
realize
that.
the difference.
No, I like that, you know,
Like that.
we had, I was actually, was it? I was at one time, first time, not the first time, but one time in Japan, we were in the ring, me and John, working against some, I don't know who, and they had a fucking earthquake. That's pretty crazy to be in the
Wow,
ring.
in the ring, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll be back. Another edition, part 2. Okay, Fabe, we're gonna take a little break.
Okay.